Cheers, everybody. We are back. It's review time here on Bourbon on a Budget, and we are back with our special guest, Sean Farrell, to review for you guys Elijah Craig, small batch.
Small bottle.
Small bottle, too, 375. Brendan, that's a 375 as well?
No, it's not. They didn't have any 375.
Oh, that
so I'm in
sucks.
for a full one. Yeah.
Well, you paid $10 more to get twice the bourbon, so we're there. Sean, thanks for hanging out with us again for part 2 of this episode. We appreciate you guys tuning in. You can follow us on social media, Bourbon on a Budget. If you're watching this, if you'll give us a thumbs up on YouTube, listening, 5 stars on iTunes, we'd appreciate that very much. Brendan, let's jump right into this thing. Let's review it. Let's get it going. Talk to us about Elijah Craig Small Batch.
All right. Elijah Craig Small Batch is a straight bourbon. It's from Heaven Hill Distillery. It's proofed at 94. No age statement. Maybe Sean can help me with this. This was a little bit before my bourbon hunting times. It used to be a 12-year age statement, right? And then they changed it to small batch, and now it's a mix of 8 and 12. But didn't people just lose their minds, man, when they changed it?
Yeah, from what I recall, it used to have the age statement, like you said, normally between that 8 and 12, at least what we're finding now. And that, as we talked about with the store picks, the ranges that we got, I recall, were between 8 and 10 at least. I think they're saving some of the older for older, but yeah, I think people went crazy after, like with everything.
Anytime you take off the age statement, people don't like that. So yeah, they had to preserve the Elijah Craig juice basically because it started selling so quickly. So, and probably more profitable as well. So the mash bill is 78% corn, 12% malted barley. So the barley is actually going to be higher than the rye. The rye's at 10% here. A little different for a mash bill. Price, guys, I paid, I want to say $32 for the 0.75. It goes between 30 to 35. It's gone up in price a little bit. So yeah, those are the measurables there on good old Elijah Craig.
Not as good of a deal. I got my 375 for $19.99, so $20.
What?
Yeah,
so 375. Sorry,
yeah,
375
for $20. I have quite a bit of other Elijah Craig products. So the rye, the toasted, the barrel. So I just didn't want a full one of it. So,
so I had something pretty unique. I got this bottle after we got our store pick in, and I got this bottle along with the Old Forester syrup at a Walgreens liquor for $15.
Whoa.
That's a heck of a deal. That's a great deal.
That's the budget portion of all this. All right.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Wow.
So as we've been talking about this, have you guys been? I'll start with you because I think you probably have spoken the least amount on here so far. Talk to us about this nose.
I really enjoy this nose. It is like caramel, vanilla. I mean, it's quintessential, bourbon, straightforward. So I enjoy the nose. It's super pleasant to me. A little bit of oak.
Cutting you off, Ben. Sorry,
that was enough talking. That was enough talking for Ben. He's done for the episode. Did you say lemon oak or I heard oak? Did you say lemon oak? Light oak. Light oak. Okay. Because I definitely get the oak. You're dead on, Ben, with the caramel, the vanilla. But I am getting a little citrusy. To me, is more showing up as a little orange. There's one other note that I'm getting on the nose that I don't get a whole lot in bourbon, and I'm enjoying it. It's a coffee-ish note, like a coffee with a lot of cream and sugar in it. So I don't know, latte or whatever, but there's this rich, dark coffee-ish note to it as well in the nose. And I agree with you, Ben. I'm enjoying the hell out of the nose right now. Sean, what about you? What are you getting on the nose?
Same classic bourbon, vanilla, caramel, oak, like you guys said. Only other thing I'm getting is maybe a hint of some nut, like either peanut or walnut or something like that. Just on it's really subtle, so not overpowering like some of those other bean products.
Right.
But really enjoyable, not really sweet and light.
What about a hazelnut? Would you go with me down the road on a hazelnut?
You can sell me on that.
Okay. All right.
I definitely pick up some of the citrus that Brandon was talking about. The orange, very faint, but a lot of the same notes that you guys are talking about, so I'm not going to repeat them. Have we tasted it? I saw Sean just take a big swig. Who tasted it first and who wants to go first on this one?
I tasted it. It's classic bourbon. It's really good. The vanilla and the caramel that you get on the nose, boom, pops up there. I know that's not super unique, but it's there. It's prevalent, and it unfolds nicely. A little bit of brown sugar there. Definitely get the oaky tanninness to it as well. Cherry, which I didn't get a whole lot of on the nose. initially. Good. It's a good taste. I'm going to get into it a little bit more here, but so far, so good. I like it. Ben, how about you?
Yeah, I completely agree. I'll get a little bit of cherry. I don't think Elijah Craig, this small batch, is supposed to be super experimental in its bottling. It's supposed to be pretty straightforward, approachable, and it's kind of be their representation of a straightforward bourbon from Heaven Hill. So nothing too outside the box, which is to be expected, but decent.
Sean, where you at on the taste on this thing?
Like it's already been said, it's pretty classic bourbon. It's the vanilla. It's a little bit of oak that dominate just about from front palate to back palate. It's straightforward. They're not doing anything with an extremely long on one end or another. A little bit more oaky, but to reiterate what Ben said, it's supposed to be just their normal offering. It's pretty straightforward, and they're not trying to charge you much for it. So
94 proof. It doesn't drink super heavy. It's also not super heavy, but 94 proof. Where are you guys at on the spice level on this? It's not super spicy, but you're getting a little bit of that spice coming through towards the end.
The finish part, TJ, for me is where I'm getting the spice for sure. It's pleasant, right? Little cinnamony, a little kind of clove, baking spice. That's where I'm getting the spice.
I was going to say there's definitely cinnamon on that back end.
Yeah, I get bitterness on like the finish for me, which it just kind of falls off a little bit. It's not a super long finish by any means, and I'm skipping ahead to finish here, but it finishes is like my least favorite part of this bourbon. It gets bitter, at least to my palate, and I could be wrong, but I don't get super hot baking spice or anything. It's just a little bitter.
I am getting that somewhat, Ben. I am getting cinnamon spice, baking spice. I'm getting that vanilla throughout all of it, though. Like that kind of is the balancing. But it is again coming back. I think we've talked about oak tannins on every single note so far. It's there on the finish too. It does get that little bitterness at the end.
Bitter oak or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think so as well. And that was a pretty natural segment into finish, and taste obviously goes into it. But yeah, it falls a little short there. Sean, how do you think it finishes?
Short. You get that blast of cinnamon, and then it's gone just as quick as it comes.
So we did nose, we did taste, we did finish. We'll rate this bad boy and get it going. For those that may be tuning in for the first time or have had quite a few drinks and maybe forgotten our scale, we give 2 points for the nose here. Ben, who seems to forget it every week, 2 points for the nose, 4 points for the taste. So we weigh those first two very heavily. Finish gets a point. Cohesiveness and complexity gets a point together. And then that gives us a score out of 8. And we are left with a 2 point left over for value. 2 nose, 4 finish, 2 nose, 4 taste, 1 finish, 1 cohesive complexity, and 2 for value. Let's start it off. We'll go with Ben because he is the best part of this show. Let's talk about the nose. Rate this thing.
Agreed.
And the most humble.
Yeah, to me, this is the best part. The nose is the best part about this bourbon. It's subtle. It's not overwhelming, but it's sweet. It's approachable. 1.5. 1.5 is good.
Brendan.
I went 1.5 as well. I almost went 1.75. I almost did it, but I didn't think it was.
I know.
That great.
I was there too. It's not that good.
But it is a very pleasant nose, especially when we start getting to the price point. Like it's going to be up there with any kind of $30 bourbon. 1.5. Yeah. What about you, Sean?
Straight across the board, 1.5. I think it's definitely the best part of it is the nose.
First, TJ, come on, first 4P ever here on Bourbon on a Budget.
Go 2, TJ. Go 2. Go 2.
I'm going 1.5 as well. It wasn't good enough to get up that high. Sean, I'll start with you on taste, though. Let's roll. Out of 4.
I gave it a 2 out of 4. I don't think it's anything crazy. It's your classic bourbon. So if you're looking for something to pour that you're like, I just want to drink a bourbon, it's not going to be too spicy because it's 94 proof. But it doesn't do anything like some of the other bourbons that you could find out there where you have a lot of complexity, where you have a lot of different flavors that are just mixing together to just make it overly enjoyable. But it is good. It's just nothing extraordinary.
Brendan.
I'm pretty close to Sean. I went 2.25, and I kind of was between 2 and 2.5. I was going back and forth. I cut the difference. 2.5. It's above average to me for the reasons Sean mentioned. It's better than I think most bourbons you can find out there, but it's not special.
I think Brenda has it right here. I would say it's slightly above average for the price point. I think it's, like I said, slightly above average, 2.25. That's where it's at.
I want it known for the record, by the way, I'm still going by the old scoring system where there were no 0.25, just straight 0.5s.
We really struggled with that, man, like whether to go ahead and do it. And I think Ben just did it like joking a couple times and then just slipped into it. And honestly, I think it gets a better composite score. I think it gets more precise.
I'm a traditionalist.
He's an OG.
That's amazing. I'm going to go higher than all of you. I'm going to go 2.5 here. It's slightly above average to me. But I think it's good. I think it's got some good flavor in it. And it was enjoyable. I don't know that it's up to the level of a 3 for some comparison. I gave Four Roses Small Batch a 2.25. I gave Woodford Reserve a 2.75. And I think this is right in the middle of those two. So for me, I'm going to give it a 2.5. Finish. Let's go with Brendan this time.
I went with 0.5, and I went between 2.25 and 0.5. I decided to round up a little bit because I had rounded down with the two previous ones, so I want to give it a little love. I think it's an average finish, maybe slightly below our average, but I don't think it warranted quite a 0.25 for me. I don't think it was that subpar.
Sean.
0.5. Same kind of thing. It was, shorter than I wanted to. I was debating between the 0 and 0.5 and thought it definitely had a good enough finish where it warranted the 0.5 as opposed to the 0.
Ben.
Least favorite part about this, 0.25, below average, well below average. I like it. Not good.
It's not unpleasant though, right? It's just not.
It's a 0.25, Brendan.
Okay. All right. No more elaboration needed.
It's a 0.25.
All right. Moving along.
It's average to me, so 0.5 it is. Cohesiveness and complexity. Let's go, Sean, on this one.
This is where I had a hard time. I marked it a 0. So sticking with traditional values.
Go for it, baby. Go for it.
It's not complex. It's basic. There's not really, you're not getting hit with different flavors. It's not hitting you from different angles. It's good in the fact that it's a traditional bourbon, but I'm not saying it's cohesive because there's only so many, there's only the vanilla, the oak, and maybe 1 or 2 other things that come out of it. And there's no complexity with it. So unfortunately, I have to give it a 0.
Brendan.
I'm going to go with 0.5. I do think it's cohesive. I think what you get on the nose, what you get on the palate, what you get on the finish, it all kind of goes in line. But it's not super complex. It doesn't really deviate from those notes. I almost gave it 0.25 because it has some of that coffee note early on and the nice little cinnamon spice at the end shows up, but it just wasn't quite enough to warrant points for me. So 0.5 for me.
Ben.
0.25. Both Brendan and Sean are right.
So you split the difference. I'll go 0.5. I think it's cohesive but not complex. Bringing our scores through 8, our guest Sean is a 4 out of 8. Myself, this is live radio, so 5 out of 8, just slightly above. Brendan out of 8 is 4.75, and Ben is 4.25. So, considering a $20 $3.75, a $30 to $32 $7.50. Sean, you start us off here. You get 2 points for value. This is an average bourbon that you can find anywhere. It's not hard to find. Where are you at on value here?
So am I able to use the value that I got for this bottle, or I have to use the value that you guys?
No.
So I'd say
that's legitimately what Ben did.
I've listened to episodes where you guys go off your own value.
The Russell's 10 year is jumped up because of Ben giving it like a 3 out of 2 on value, if I remember correctly.
I make my own rules.
We did allow that on the first episode. We have not done that since then. So we can vote on this real quick. Me, Ben, and Brendan. I say no.
I say for something like Elijah Craig that you can occasionally find on sale if you just look a little for it. Like you guys getting a Pappy at $100, like that doesn't count for value because that's a unicorn. I'm okay.
It was 55. But go ahead. Sorry.
Whatever.
I'll play within the parameters. Well,
here's what I think. I think if you can, I think a reasonable sale on this would be the $25 to $28 range. I think you probably hit it at just some, clearing out inventory sale, which is
for $15.
Which is not usual. But I've definitely seen it on sale, marked down like $5 at $27 or $28. That's reasonable to assume there, that kind of sale. But inventory clearance is probably tough to argue. So that's like
I can agree.
Ben is the funniest and the smartest. It's a good thing he's not very good looking because
I know. Heaven forbid.
Leave some ladies for the rest of us. All right.
Sorry for getting us off track, but I personally give this a 1.5.
Okay.
I think it's a great value for a traditional bourbon. If somebody is coming up to me in a store and asking, hey, I'm sort of new to this is the entry kind of bottle, I think that is a perfect example of what bourbon is.
I like it.
Yeah.
Brendan.
That's a really good answer. I'm going to go 1.5 as well. I was going between 1.25 and 1.5, but Sean being a traditionalist, I'm going with the 0.5. 1.5, it's a very good entry-level bourbon at a good price. It won't do you wrong. 1.5, great value.
Let's hear it, Ben.
Yeah, I agree. I would be at 1.5 if I enjoyed this bourbon. I just don't like it. I just don't like it that much. So I'm going 1.25. I feel like it needs to be in every beginner's collection, just so you can get an example of Heaven Hill. It's just not for me. So a little bit of dock there, but I do think it is a good bourbon for the price. So above average, 1.25.
I hate to do this, but I'm going to agree with Ben and say that I think he's spot on. Well, 1.25. If I enjoyed it more, then I think I would. I'd give it the full 1.5. But I don't disagree with Sean or Brendan's takes on it. Bringing our final scores: Ben at a 5.5, Sean at a 5.5, Brendan and I both at 6.25. We all got there very different ways. Composite on this one is 5.875.
Should we don't break our top 10?
I don't think it barely sneaks into the top 15.
Damn it.
That we've ever done.
We've had 6 reviews.
But so for people counting at home, if it's on a scale of 1 to 10, which it is, we're saying this is an above average value. Still.
Yeah.
It's basically saying above average bourbon, above average value, probably one worth picking up most of the time.
If Sean wasn't here, and I'm glad he is here, but I'll say that our composite for this would have been 6, so it would have been right on par with Woodford Reserve. It would have beaten out Four Roses. It would have lost the Double Rye. It would have lost Old Forester 100, and it would have been right on par with Eagle Rare, which Ben reminder gave a 4.75.
Don't give me this. Screw you guys. I knew this something was afoot. I knew there was something afoot. Whatever. Anyway, I think this, but the question back is like, does this need to be in your collection? Should this be a bottle that's in there?
I was low-key mad that I had to get a full. I was going to be okay with it if it was 0.375, that I had to go and drop $30 on it. I thought was.
Jeez. Being too hard. This needs to be in everyone's collection.
I agree with Ben. I think this is the perfect bourbon for you to not feel bad about testing out in cocktails, testing it out in a different. If you have somebody that's coming over the first time that's trying something new, it's the perfect sort of gateway bourbon.
I think it's perfect for like if you have like 10 bourbons in your collection for that very reason, Sean, because it is such a good gateway, such a good transitional one from someone trying to graduate from like a Jim Beam or I don't know. I got Buffalo Trace in the collection. I got Jim Beam bottled and bond. I got Eagle. I don't know. I have a lot of $30
It's hard
bottles.
to get Buffalo Trace. It's hard to get Buffalo Trace for the beginner. I'm talking about like just like an average person going in there.
Yeah,
it is a good introduction to a very well-known large distillery, and I think it needs to be in a collection. I just don't like it, but I still feel like it needs to be there.
It's like Sam Adams is for beer to me. Like you know what you're getting. The price is like you know what it's going to be, and everyone's going to find it unoffensive, and it's good for that.
Wrap us up, TJ.
I definitely rated them a little bit differently, but I ended up giving Woodford Reserve the same score. And for the same price, I'd rather have that. Like if I'm going to have my standard stock bourbon, I ended up with the same score on it. So I'm not standing on this like really, really hard, but I think I would prefer Woodford Reserve over Elijah Craig. If we were doing 8th points, I think it would have won. So maybe the next time Sean comes on, we'll do 8ths and see if we can get 30 seconds quarters. Yeah. So I think I'd take the Woodford like over the 2. Like, because you're not going to have. I don't think your collection's going to be, you're not going to have, I mean, maybe you do, but like mine isn't to the point where I have a Woodford standard, Elijah Craig 94, Four Roses small batch. Like I have all of, one of every single entry. So if I'm going to pick of similar things, my pick is going to be Woodford. But I do think that everybody should buy this at least once and try it, give it a shot, see if you like it. So I will be with you on that. And I like a lot of their products. Like I said, I like their toasted grill. I like their rye. So anyway, try different things. Bourbon on a Budget. Follow us on social media. Thanks for hanging out for our review tonight. Sean, thanks for hanging out for both parts of this podcast this week. We really appreciate it. Go follow them on Facebook, like the page, join the group. It is Southwest Florida Bourbon Society, correct? I didn't screw that up.
Yes, sir.
All right. So check them out. Follow them on Facebook. Interact with those guys. If you're down in that area or happen to be traveling down that area, Sean posts a bunch of pics of different things at different stores and kind of get some insight on some cool things dropping there, some hidden allocated type things that pop up from time to time. I see him posting on different stores and stuff. So Southwest Florida Bourbon Society on Facebook. Guys, thanks for hanging out tonight. It was a blast. Cheers.
Cheers.
See you.
Cheers.